Friends, it is Tuesday, September 19th, and you are not here. Hopefully, you're feeling okay. My job is to make sure you understand what you missed today and then show you what the homework is. So, make sure, first of all, we can find our ebooks. So, we go to we go to CPM Math. When you find CPM Math, I find the one that says More Math for More People. That usually takes me to where I want to go. When I hit login, if I'm previously logged in, it might log me in. Or if you're on a Chromebook, you just have to find your Google G. If you're on someone else's device, you may have to enter your school username and your school password. So I'm going to click in here. I'm already in. So I go right to my ebook. And then from the ebook, I find course 3. And from course 3, I go to chapter 1. And I'm going into 1.1.4. Okay. So this one says, how can I use data to solve a problem? What is our problem? If you remember, our problem is the roller coaster. And in the roller coaster, we said, is there a relationship between your height and how high you can reach? Right? And why do we need to know that information? We had to know that information because the distance from the seat of the roller coaster to the ceiling of the roller coaster was 200 centimeters. So people are getting freaked out. They're like, well, we can't go in that thing. We're going to get injured, especially if we're tall. So then we took all the people in our class and we measured their heights. And then we measured the distance from the seat of the roller coaster to how high they can reach, like if they're going, like that. And then we're going to plot that information out. So that's where we're starting. The learning targets for this activity. It says the students or the lesson will introduce scatter plots as a tool for organizing data and making predictions. Students will learn the importance of carefully scaling the axis of a graph. Also, students will be introduced to the concept of dependent and independent measurements. The success criteria. Students will collect and graph data. We collected it. We're going to graph it today. And then use it to identify a trend and answer questions relating to the data. And then they will find an actual equation for their model in chapter 7. Oh, cool. So the stuff that we're doing here, we're going to revisit later. Love it. All right. So what we have to do, we talked about Newton's revenge. The ceiling to the seat of the roller coaster, 200 centimeters. Is this going to be a problem? So we collected your data. And then what we do is we put the student's name and we put their height and their reach. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into something called a graphing calculator. Okay. So we're going to go to Desmos graphing calculator. And I'm going to put the data up and you have to enter the data. So for example, let's say somebody was 145 centimeters tall, comma, how high could they reach? They could reach 122. Parenthesis. I don't see it anywhere, so we might have to scroll out. And the x-axis down here, this is how tall the person is. Okay. And the y-axis is how high they can reach. So I scrolled out here and then I see it. Now, if you're wondering, this is quadrant 1 over here, 2, 3, 4. Somebody asked, well, why are we only operating in quadrant 1? Well, you can't have a negative height, right? So this is how tall you are. We can't be negative tall. And you can't have a negative reach. You can only have a positive reach. So we're operating right in here. And we can kind of zoom in and zoom out to find a scale that fits us the best. Okay, so I'm going to pull that down here. And let's say we had another person that had a height of 132, comma, and they had a reach of 122. Okay. And then we had another person that had a height of 188. And they had a reach of 162. Made a little mistake back here. And we see a point. And so we're just going to keep putting points and points and points. And then we want to see, can we find a line that's going to trend all of these points? So I'm just going to throw another data sample on here. let's say we had somebody that was at 130 and 115. Okay, and we can see, let's say we had somebody in here that was at 180 and 140. Right? So then we want to see, okay, yeah, this looks like our trend right here, doesn't it? So what we're going to do is kind of drop a line in here so we can kind of get a feel for the relationship between height and reach. So I'm just going to just make a guess here. I'm going to say y equals x, and you don't have to understand this yet. I'm just kind of playing around. Y equals x. It's got to come down a little bit, so I'm going to say, how about y equals less than x? I'll say 4/5 x. That's pretty good. And I want to move it up, so I'm just going to go y equals 4/5 x plus 5 plus 5. Oh, that's pretty good. So maybe we have some kind of line right here that kind of represents this data. There's a relationship in this data. So then what we did is we said, okay, the ceiling's 200. This is how high the ceiling is. And this is where the point is on our data that would cross that line. So if I track this down, how high can you reach 200 to how high of a person or how tall you are, I would track this down here, and it's somewhere around here, isn't it? 200, 210, 220, 230, 240. So that means that person must be about 240 centimeters. So now I'm going to convert centimeters to feet and inches. So how many inches? Let's go centimeter to inches. So let's go. Where did we say that was? We said that's about, a person's going to hit their hands if they're about 240 centimeters. So if I enter 240 centimeters, that person is 94 and a half inches. All right, so now let's go inches, or let's divide that by 12. So 94.5 inches divided by 12. So I can go into here and go into Tools, Calculator. I'm going to go 94.5 inches divided by 12. That should give us how many feet? Oh, wow. Seven feet, 0.875. So 0.875 times 12. This is why metric is so much easier. Look at that. That's about 7'10". So you would probably scrape your hands based on this data that we found so far if you were about 7'10". So then you have to determine, is the ride going to be safe or not? Sound good? So that's the conclusion. Then when we get into some problems like this, talked about quadrants, we talked about that. And then we talked about zooming in and zooming out of your graphs. Okay, we can do that. And then Yao Ming is 7'6". Would he be safe on the ride? And is the roller coaster safe for all riders? That's it. That's what we did today. And it was a lot of fun, and the kids liked using the Desmos graphing calculator. Okay. Next, the homework is this. Karen discovered a human height is related to their reach. Karen is curious if the same thing is true for foot size, so she mapped out shoe size versus height. And here's the e-tool for that. So what did Karen do? Karen put the x-axis as shoe size down here. I think, I'm going to zoom out. Zoom out, zoom out. What did Karen do? Oh yeah, here's shoe size down here. And up here is your height. Okay, so that's done for us, so we can take a look at that. It was not practical for Karen to measure her classmates' feet, so Karen collected the following shoe size data from some of her classmates, make a graph with appropriately scaled axes, axes, and you can use the graphing calculator for that. Is there a relationship between shoe size and height? Or you could paper and pencil this one too. Okay. 131. One important statistical display is a box plot. If you need help remembering what a box plot is, refer to the glossary in the ebook before you complete parts A through D below. And we have a homework tool here for box plotting. And we can go into homework help for that one too, if you need some help with box plotting. 132, Letitia is determined to do well in school. Her goal is to maintain at least an 85% average mean in all her courses. She started her history class with 2 scores, 72 and 89. Confirm that the mean of these 2 scores is 80.5. Show your work. So figure out the mean of those. Her 3rd score was 90. Use her scores from part A to figure out her mean. Now, be sure to show your work. Homework help is here. Diamond problems. Homework help. Compute without a calculator. Homework help. And then on this one, the area of a rectangle is shown below in the middle of the rectangle. For each figure, find the missing length. So something times something is 60 inches squared. 15 meters times something is 180 meters squared. And 14 centimeters times something is 231 centimeters squared. Without using a calculator, compute the value of the following expressions. Remember, if you're dividing, you flip the second and multiply. If you are seeing the word of, multiplying, multiply, and divide. Letitia earned an 85% today. Her previous scores were 72, 79, or 89, and 90. Calculate her new average. Consider this data stem and leaf plot, homework help, median and mean, and then estimate the areas of Montana and California using the grid below. Which state has the greatest area? Okay. Let me check back here. Did you get this homework already? Let's see here, classwork. Did you get 1.1? No, we did not get that one yet. That's 1.1.14. Or did we get that one? Oh my gosh. Yeah, you already got that one. So I'm going to go ahead and then just repost that one. Okay. So just so you get an update on yours. And here is this homework. There. Beautiful. All right, that's all we have today. Use your help. Use your ebooks. And if you need any other assistance, make sure that you contact me at johnson.th@mpsd.school. And I hope you're doing well, and I hope you have a beautiful day. All right, we will see you later.